Welcome to Cheese in Depth. I'm Michael Landis, and today we're really fortunate because I've had the fortune of being able to enjoy these cheeses for a very long time, completely across the United States, and have run into giant drums of these cheeses at stores and just beautiful cheeses. So it's really a pleasure to be able to have on Kerry Henning.
Hi, I'm Kerry Henning, third generation cheesemaker. My grandpa started making cheese back in 1914, and he made cheese for 49. And the Colby, what we're having today is what we call our Colby Longhorn. We make this in individual hoops, about 12 pounds to a hoop. Now you can see I've got a whole piece here. I think most of the folks have gotten like half wheels of Colby, and I kind of make that only because my dad just really loves Colby Longhorn. We also put this Colby up in midgets, a 12-pound wheel, or a daisy, a 22-pound wheel. And what's really neat, when you put Colby up the traditional way with the cheesecloth and the wax, the openness of the Colby curd remains, where so much of our Colby cheese we eat today that comes from the store, it's all vacuum packed, and you lose some of that unique curdiness from because it's vacuum packed. So we really enjoy this Colby Longhorn. This Colby that we have today is about 30 days old, which is it's just starting to come into some flavors. My dad always enjoys it when it's about 6 months old. I enjoy it when it's about 3 months old, but a lot of people enjoy this year that's about 30 days old. So as you bite into it, you're going to notice the curdiness of it, and as you bite into those curds, it's going to release the flavors and some of the buttery notes. So it's just going to give you a little different mouthfeel from what you're generally used to.
There's a lot of Colbys out there that they don't make it in the round, they make it in the square. And I've always considered that this style was really like the original style that was originally designed for the particular cheese. So, and also I noticed when I was opening it up that it's bandaged wrapped, correct?
That is correct. We feel bandage wrap makes the best Colby.
It's funny because when you think about some of the, I guess, higher end cheeses that are out there, the cheddars and the aging through that, one doesn't really think about Colby as being a cheese that you would bandage wrap, but it gives it so much rich flavor. This is really amazing. I think it's by far the best cheese, the Colby that I've ever had. Kind of thinking about the way that I would pair it from traditional, but the flavor characteristics here are so much more that I wanted to give it a little bit more intense flavor. And so for my vehicle, for my cracker, it's actually a biscuit. This is the Effie's, their rye cakes. I really love the rye. I think that works out really well with a lot of the cheeses, especially when you don't want something so sweet. You want something a little bit more savory. And then Bonnie's Jams. She does this wonderful peach ginger, and I thought that the ginger would work really well with it. And I'm pairing it up with a Blue Moon, the Belgian white. So just a little carbonation. That is a fabulous cheese. Just a great snacking cheese.
I picked one of my favorite beers with the Blue Moon. The Blue Moon is one of my favorite beers, and so you did a great job pairing that up with that. We also have a local winery not far from us here that we enjoy pairing it up with some of their wines as well. But mainly we just enjoy it as a table cheese.
Yeah, I had a few people that emailed me before we started about suggestions for beer and wine. And if I was going to go a wine, I'd probably do like the Fetzer Sundial Chardonnay or the Louis Jaujon Macon Village, something unoaked, because this is such a buttery cheese that you really don't need the butter and oakiness out of a wine to really bring this up. This does it all by itself. It's a delicious cheese. I really like this.
So we were tasting the Longhorn, but we also put this up in what we call our 12-pound midgets. We also put it in 22-pound daisy wheels, and then the next size that's most popular is like a 38-pound wheel. So they're all the same. They're going to have that same openness, that curtiness that you see in this Colby Longhorn. And so you can get those great flavors without having to buy this Longhorn. We only make a limited amount of Colby Longhorn that we sell in our retail store at the cheese factory. We don't really sell it to grocery stores because it's so labor intensive to make it. And so it's one of those things we just have as a treat at our cheese store. This is my favorite cheese that we make. I love the flavor of it. This is aged anywhere from 9 months to a year. We are one of the few companies that actually puts how long it's been aged on the package. So much cheese produced today is what we call forced cured or forced aged. You know, you can use temperatures and different cultures and things to accelerate the ripening flavor of cheeses. But we think taking time, aging it slowly in, like our coolers are at 40 degrees. We believe having coolers at that temperature just gives the right balance of flavors to the cheese as it matures. And this year-old cheese is my favorite. This is my go-to cheese. I always have this one at home. We also have what we call our medium-aged cheese, which is about 4 to 6 months old, which is also very good. Has a lots of flavor, but the aged cheddar just has that much more flavor to it, and I think you will really enjoy this cheese. I enjoy melting this. This is great with something as simple as mac and cheese, or pick your favorite cracker. It's just the flavors just pop out and just wow you.
And I have to say that this is such a classic cheese. The flavor characteristic is being just a little bit of the lactic acid, the lemon, lime in here, that tanginess and the saltiness, and there's just a little bit of crunch. It's just a beautiful cheese. So I wanted to kind of spice it up a little bit, even though that, you know, you have some things coming up. I work with a couple things that I think are kind of fun with it. Pepper jelly. And so it's got a really nice 4 types of peppers in it, a little bit of jelly and a little splash of apple cider for tanginess. And then for the vehicle, I'm just using the Firehook rosemary because I think rosemary goes really well with it. And beer, I went with a pale ale, the Sweetwater 420 extra pale ale.
Now this cheese is, we made this in our 40-pound block, so it's not a bandage wrap cheese. But if this would be a bandaged wrap cheese, the cheese would be a little drier and probably the flavor would be more intense yet. And so we really have fun when a customer orders cheese and say, hey, we want to age this for a year, but we wanted bandage wrap. And that just really makes us smile because it's always a little more work to have cheese that's going to age for a year, because you probably will get some mold under the cheesecloth and such. You have to cut that away, and you actually will have some shrinkage, what we call shrinkage with the cheese because of evaporation. Some of the moisture, water from the cheese will actually evaporate into the air, and so you concentrate more of the flavors yet. And so when you have a bandaged cheese, you actually have actually more flavor in the cheese compared to this aged cheddar that we have here where it's vacuum packed. But I'm just real happy though with this vacuum packed aged cheddar that we do. So kind of the inspiration behind this one was a few years ago. This is a relatively new one. About 3 years ago, my wife and I and some friends, we went to Kentucky on a bourbon trail tour. And so we visited a number of bourbon manufacturers, distilleries, and just felt, hey, maybe we could make some cheese with this. And so we experimented for a year and a half, and we do a regular, just a bourbon cheese, and this one here we have is our maple bourbon. The maple bourbon has been probably the more popular one. So now with this one we add some maple flavoring. We got some 7-year-old and some 7-year-old bourbon in here, and so you get some of this the bourbon notes in the cheese, along with some of the sweetness of the maple, the caramely notes of the maple coming through, and it kind of complement each other really nice.
This is a wonderful cheese, a nice balance of flavors. I'm pairing this up with the Fat Toad Farm, and this is their caramel, their original, on a Effie's cocoa biscuit with it's got coconut. So I thought it'd make it a little sweeter. Which it does. And a local brewery, we were talking about one of them, 81 Bay, which is, I know you'll be in Tampa in a couple weeks. I've done several events with these guys, and this is their coffee porter. And it's a really nice kind of, I wouldn't say it's overly sweet, but it's got a nice coffee flavor to it. And I thought that would work really well with the bourbon and the maple.
Well, this has been a fun cheese to make, and I enjoy cooking with it even more. People always ask me, well, what do you do with Mango Fire? I says, I love it in lasagna, on top of potatoes, just on top of pizzas. This cheese, if you want a little bit of sweetness of the mango and the nice cheddary notes, and you get some heat of the habaneros, this cheese just goes so well with baking. Even on my Sunday morning scrambled eggs, I enjoy putting this cheese on top of my scrambled eggs. So I found that it's such a versatile cheese, and it just zests up so much of so many of your recipes. So this has gotten to be like this is also a cheese that's always in my refrigerators, and because it's such a versatile cheese. It's a nice table cheese, nice for eating when you're having some guests over, and it's also great just to be cooking with it.
I had somebody that said that mango is the #1 condiment in the world. The people in around the world love mangoes, and so it was probably one of the first. Even though you can debate mustard or ketchup, so that, but I think savory, and it's really got such a wonderful, I guess, lift to the cheddar. It really brings a lot of the flavors out, and it's not overpowering. In other words, I'm not getting so much heat. I am getting some heat. There's definitely some residual flavor that's in there. So I wanted to keep it kind of simple. I went with Rustic Bakery, their organic sourdough flatbread, just olive oil and sea grizz, and I squeezed a little bit of the Savannah bee honey on it to give it a little bit of sweetness, and to kind of add a little bit of, I guess, cooling to it. I have a Cigar City, their cider, their dry English cider. Mm. Mango cider, the spice, all those things, fabulous. Really interesting. I think that this would be, shredding this up on a taco would be, especially like a fish taco, something like that, with the mango flavor and a little bit of heat. That would be so wonderful. I mean, it wouldn't be bad with chicken either. So anything else you'd like to say about it? It's fabulous.
Well, thank you very much. No, I think I mentioned, like I said, I enjoy cooking with it, and I do like the balance, the sweetness of the mango there up front, and nothing's real overpowering. We don't want it to be too hot, but yet you want to have some kick to it at the end.
Absolutely, yeah, it's there. So we have one last slide, and I was just looking up, and you have a cheese store and a museum. So what's in your museum?
Oh, you don't want to ask me. I used to say it was all the junk my dad used to keep. But so over the years, we always, my dad always saved a lot of different cheese making equipment, and other cheesemakers, as their families weren't interested in hanging on to some of the old equipment, my dad would always take it. And so we did an expansion at the cheese plant, and with that expansion, we kind of built just a little museum to kind of show some of the old equipment that we had, maybe when my dad was a young boy or even a young man. So most of the stuff is that 60 to 70, 80 years old in our museum. And I'm amazed how many people come and just look around at all the stuff. We have, placards that describe the equipment, and it's really been interesting. We even have a book in our museum that shows all the cheese factories that were in our Manitowoc County once upon a time. There was like over 100 cheese factories in our county alone. And now Henning Cheese is the only cheese factory left in Manitowoc County. So, but in how the people just look at these old pictures of the old cheese factories, some of them are still there. A lot of them were converted into residential buildings, houses and such. And it's easy when you're from Wisconsin, it's quite easy to pick these old cheese factories out. They have a certain look to them. And then our store, it's not super big, we feature our cheeses, plus we also bring in other Wisconsin cheeses. We have a lot of friends in the industry, so we like to bring their cheeses in and sell them as well in our store. And then we also have some of the local Wisconsin wines and beer that we also sell. Well, I'm just going to say, I guess if you're interested, we have a website. You can just look up Henning's Cheese, henningscheese.com. We ship gift boxes, cheese boxes, all over the country, and we even send some over to Europe, especially if you have family in the military. So we do that, and you're always welcome to come out and visit us. If you're by chance going to a Packer game, we're just south of Lambeau Field, about 40 miles, and we do get a lot of visitors that stop in before and after the game. And so our cheese store is open from like 6 in the morning till 4 in the afternoon. We generally are done making cheese by about noon, so a good time to come and watch us make cheese. We have viewing windows where you can actually watch us make cheese. And so the best time to watch us is, I tell people to be there between 8 and 10. That's when most of the action is happening. A lot of times by noon, we're already done making cheese for the day. And so if you're there later, all you can see, you can still look out into the plant but we won't be making cheese at that point. So it is kind of neat. There aren't too many cheese factories in the state in Wisconsin where you can actually view what's going on. And so we got big viewing windows, and you can just kind of stand there, and the viewing windows are in our museum. So you can be looking around at the museum. We have a couple of videos that explain the whole cheese making process. We have a video on cheddar cheese making, and we also do make some string cheese and another product called matzo whips. And so we have videos on how that's all made. And so that's all kind of interesting too, and to kind of see how that's all done. And usually I have an office right off the museum. And so if I hear people that have questions, or if I'm just walking through, people have questions, I like to just stop and chat with them. Or I have a brother and a niece and a nephew and a son that are all in the business as well right now, and as they pop through the museum every now and then, they'll answer questions as well. So we're still a very family-oriented business. I think there's 6-7 family members that are involved in the business. So we hope to keep her rock and rolling for another generation. In fact, we've already started passing on the business to the 4th generation already. So that's kind of exciting that hopefully we can keep her going another generation.
Well, it will be definitely for the love of your cheese, because everywhere I go, anytime that I have it, it is exceptional. So I really believe that you have a wonderful product and cheeses, and most authentic Colby Longhorn I've ever seen in my life. So really kind of cool. So, I really appreciate that. So I wanted to thank you again for
Well, thank you, Mike,
taking the time today and, spending it here. I'm looking forward to you coming down to Tampa in the next couple of weeks. And I'm hoping that we can meet up at one of the local breweries and maybe taste some cheese, drink some beer, and, just kind of hang out. So kind of hoping that that works out for us.
Well, that would be fun, and we look forward to doing the same.
Sounds good. So again, thank you so much for taking the time today, and be safe, be careful out there, and we will have this up on my YouTube channel, Michael Landis Cheese, probably in the next couple of days. And so anybody that wants to revisit and or order some cheeses and taste along with us, they can. So we'll see you soon.
All right. Thank you, Michael.
You're welcome. You take care.